Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Live from Steepleview Farm. So glad you could be with us today. I say this every Saturday morning. It's gorgeous out. I've been up since 5 o'clock this morning. Went out, worked in the garden, irrigated a little bit, checked on some of the veggies, got everything ready for hopefully for the crowd that comes this weekend. I know we've got a lot of farm partners coming. We've got a lot of people coming to stay. People are traveling here now from around the country to see Steepleview Farm. Had two lawyers who were into permaculture travel here from Florida last week. Hope they join us for the show this morning. They had a wonderful time here, got a lot of good information. They're on their way to Polyface Farm in the Shenandoah Valley, up to see Joel Salatin at his place. And they are really on a trip this summer learning about farming. So you don't have to go that far. You can come see us right here at Steepleview Farm. We don't have all the things that Joel Salatin has. We don't have 1,000 chickens. But you can come and visit and get a little fresh air, get some great veggies, and learn a little bit. Hey, listen, everything we do on Saturdays is designed to give you some information about farming. Let's talk about the weather. First thing is, take a look at this weather today. Now, it's beautiful out. The sun is shining. Look at the weather for the rest of the week. It's beautiful out. The sun is shining. Good temperatures, right? What do you see missing? Rain. No rainfall. No appreciable rainfall. The precipitation chances are below 30% for the remainder of the week. That means everything you've planted is going to be very, very thirsty. That means you're going to have to supply water to your plants. Well, are you done planting? You have anything left to do? Well, let's check the almanac, see how that looks for the upcoming week. Today, tomorrow, Monday, don't do any planting. These are barren days. Don't let anybody talk you into putting those plants in the ground. Keep them in the shade. Keep them out of the heat. Keep them warm. Don't put them in the ground until the 16th, and you've only got a 2-day window of opportunity on the 16th and 17th for transplanting, and then look what happens. On the 18th through the summer solstice on the 20th, seeds planted now tend to rot in the ground. Summer solstice this year is on June 20th. It's hard to believe that we're only a week away from the days starting to get shorter again. Longest day of the year, summer solstice this year, June 20th, 5:43 p.m. in the Northern Hemisphere, Eastern Time. That is when summer arrives, and we can't even get a good day to plant until after the first day of summer. The day after the first full day of summer is the first day, good day to plant. So I want to talk with you a little bit about what you do about the plants you've got in the ground right now. You need to water those plants. And I know that if you care for your garden like I do and like Harriet does, her flower garden, everybody likes to get out with a hose or a watering can and get in the garden and put a little water on it, give it something to drink, just watch the plants drink it up through their leaves, hopefully drinking it up through their roots. But is that really an effective way? Is that really an effective way to water your garden? Obviously, a water can only carry so much. You're back and forth. So this is the way most people do it, right? You've got a nozzle on the end of a hose and you're standing out there watering your flowers and you're watching them get wet and you think you're doing everything they need. You're giving them all the water they need. Sorry to break it to you, that's also a pretty ineffective way to water your plants. Why? Most people don't have the staying power. They don't have the duration. They're not going to stand there long enough to give their plants the water they need. Sure, you can concentrate water pretty carefully around the root ball in the vicinity of where the plants are growing. That's great. But think about a big stack of paper towels, 8 or 10 paper towels thick, laying on your countertop. Pour water right in the center of them. What happens? The water doesn't stay there. It wicks all the way out to all the edges. So when you're applying water to your plants right at the base of the plant, think of all the dry soil around there that's going to wick that water away from those roots. It's wasteful to water everything, particularly where there's nothing growing. But it's important in dry weather like what we're going to be looking at in the week ahead. This kind of weather is desert weather. No moisture coming from the sky, all of it boiling up out of the ground. The sun shining, wind blowing, the perfect situation to dehydrate your plants. Right now, you want those plants to be sending roots deeper and deeper and deeper into the soil where they can continue to get natural moisture even in a dry spell. Now, if you're watering with a water nozzle and you're watering around your plants, it's better than nothing. You've got to give them a drink. Now, the next question is, how often do you give them a drink and how much do you need to give them? Here's a little chart I'd like for you to take a look at. On this chart, it talks about a number of different kinds of plants and what you do in what time of the year. We're going to be in the summer months. So if we look at the summer column, the second one from the left, and we look down under ground cover and vines or annuals, those are typically what would be the categories of the plants in your garden. Your flowers, your shrubs, your vegetables, your lettuces, things of that sort are going to fit in those categories. Are we going to have desert adapted plants in our area? Probably not. So we're going to look for the high water use column. And if you look at high water use after ground covers and vines, and you go over to the summer months, you are supposed to water every 2 to 5 days. And how much water are you supposed to give them? Look all the way over. The roots on those plants go 8 to 12 inches deep. Think about that. You've got to get enough water in the ground to water 8 to 12 inches deep every 2 to 5 days. Every 2 to 5 days, you have to water deeply. How do we do it? We use drip irrigation. Now, drip irrigation is better for deep watering. You don't have a lot of water spraying through the air. It's not laying on the top of the ground. It's not evaporating in the sunshine, being evaporated by the wind. Drip irrigation puts water right where it's needed, right into the ground, right at the root zone. We water, to give you an example, we use drip irrigation that has an emitter, that is a little microscopic hole every 12 inches. And it just drips water out of a tape that runs at low pressure, 15 pounds per square inch. That drip tape drips water across the entire row, 100 feet or 100 foot long is how long our rows are. We have 10 rows to a patch, so we have 1,000 feet of drip tape per patch. Each of those emitters is dripping the whole time the drip tape is on. How long does it take, even with drip tape, to give your vegetables an inch of rain, the equivalent of an inch of rain? With drip tape, where it's going right into the ground, it takes 6.5 hours. I don't think you're going to stand out there with a hose in your hand for 6.5 hours. And you're not going to be able to water all the surface of all the ground, and you're probably not even going to be able to water all around all the areas where the roots are on your plants. But it's vitally important this time of the year, particularly when it's dry, that you get water into the ground every 2 to 5 days. So think about that. Make yourself a little chart. Hang it up someplace on the refrigerator. Remember what day you watered last and how long you watered. You want to water long enough that you're going to get water down 8 to 12 inches in the ground. I recommend every 3 days. So write it down, go out and water every 3 days, and keep your plants healthy in this hot, high desert type climate we're going to be going into over the course of the next week. Now, I do want to say to you, I think that it's particularly important this time of the year, not only to have water for your plants, but know how to tend to them. And the one thing that we need to do when we're tending to plants is know how to prune them. So next week, join me for a lesson on pruning tomatoes and pruning other plants to make them grow. Hope you have a great week, friends. Hope to see you next week, God willing. And until then, God bless.